In 2017, I started an online store on Shopify. About 6 months later, I closed down my store and completely gave up on the idea. I failed, but let's start in the beginning. How did I get the idea to start a store? Why did I want to do that? And what was my business model? About 2 years before that, my little brother started his own online store. He was doing dropshipping for different products. For a while, I would look at the hard work that he put into his business and the little results that he got, and I would think, something's not working there. I don't ever see myself doing something like that. But then he actually simplified his business model a lot and he started making money. It started working. And that really got me excited. I was like, I think I can do that. I think I can start an online store and slowly grow that. I will make things simple and I would go straight forward into a dropshipping store. I didn't have a specific niche. My idea was that I would just try different products until I find a clear winner. And then once I do, I would just build the niche store around this winning product. But then things changed a little bit. My cousin came up to me with a really cool idea that she wanted to try out. She was very excited and very passionate about it. She is an Orthodox religious person and she wanted to create a brand of fashion clothing, modest fashion clothing with affordable prices. In her words at the time, any kind of modest clothing brand you find out there is either way too expensive or selling the most hideous clothing. She said it, not me. She asked me if I wanted to be her partner. I agreed. And that was my first mistake, because while she had the biggest excitement and passion for this niche and audience, I did not. I couldn't care less about this niche. It didn't interest me. I was not a part of it. The idea was that she will be bringing her familiarity with the niche and the audience, and I will be bringing the technical knowledge and my knowledge with Shopify and the e-commerce world. We never planned on producing our own products. The idea from day one was to do dropshipping. And we plan to do that in two ways. First would be the classic AliExpress dropshipping. And there were a few problems with this model. While we made sure to vet all of the products that we sold to make sure that the quality is good and shipping works as fast as possible, it is still coming from AliExpress and shipping would still be at least 2 weeks. In addition to that, a lot of our audience already knew all about AliExpress and using it to buy their own clothing. They didn't really need us as the realtors between them and the suppliers in AliExpress. So that's why we turned to the second way of doing dropshipping, which was with local suppliers. Our plan was to reach out to local suppliers and convince them to sell their products in our store. These were suppliers of brick and mortar stores that didn't really have any kind of way to work online. They had no presence online. It was clear that we gave them a lot of benefits by allowing them to go directly to customers that live far away from where their store is located. But that was actually our mistake number 2, because starting to work with these brick and mortar stores that just weren't built to any kind of online operations, that created a lot of problems. Supplying products was just starting to become a nightmare. That being said, we actually started making sales. We started advertising in Google PPC and on Facebook ads. For Facebook, our audience really wasn't the best fitted. It is such a specific audience, it is such a small audience that Facebook kind of ran out of it very quickly. Our ads were just spending money showing the same ad to the same people. We were not getting almost any sales out of it, and we quickly realized we needed to stop running our Facebook ads. But Google did pretty well. We actually got traffic and sales. We got to the point where we were breaking even and even started making some small profit. After about 2 or 3 months, we started making around $200 to $300 a month. It's not exactly enough to live off of, but it is a good feeling to know that your business is self-sustaining and even starting to make some profit that you can later on take home as a salary. Our main issue was the realization that our audience was not in the places we were marketing. Our audience was not on Facebook or Google. They were on very niche specific websites, and we had to work hard to actually reach them. First, we tried a lot of different activities with influencers in the niche through Instagram and Facebook. We did giveaways, we did shoutouts. That didn't bring in a lot of sales. It did bring some traffic, but nothing significant enough to move the needle. And then we figured out we needed to reach out to these niche websites we haven't been working with up until now. These websites operate as a newspaper more than an actual website, and their advertising platform is not any kind of display advertising that you're familiar with. To actually advertise for them, you have to pay them in advance. There is no PPC option, there is no option to pay for one day, see the results and move forward. You have to pay the entire sum in advance and then hope to get good results. And they don't even offer a real tracking mechanism to see who came from their website. So this was a high risk investment, and for us it was a pretty big one because we needed about $20,000 for each one of these websites. Now, it might not sound that much to businesses that are running and operational, but that was not the case with us. We were very new, we did not have that kind of money in the company. So the only options were to either take a loan, a personal loan, or get an investment. This is where our main disagreement came to be. My partner actually managed to find someone who wanted to invest in the business. He wanted to invest much more than we actually needed, which makes sense. When someone tells you that their business needs a capital, you figure out they needed for pretty big things and you want to get a pretty big percentage in exchange for your investment. But in my eyes, we did not need that big of an amount of money. In my eyes, if the amount of money that you need is something you can get for a personal loan, then you shouldn't get an investment. At least not if you believe in your business. Because if you believe in your business, then you know that whatever amount of money is not worth a 10, 15 or 20% of your business. And that was basically our third and most critical mistake. We did not believe in our business enough. I wanted to get the loan because I felt like that was the right thing to do. That was the right way to say we believe in our business and we will make it work. But I didn't really want to do that because I didn't really love the business model and I didn't really love the niche. And at this point, I was feeling like this is not what I want to do and I don't want to have to handle this niche any longer. My partner, on the other hand, was very adamant about getting an investment. She felt like that was the way forward. That was the way for us to actually increase the business and get it to the size that we needed to be to succeed. Both of us felt very reluctant to actually get a loan. She had her own reasons, she had a family that she needed to take care of, and I wanted to do that because it was the right thing to do, but I didn't feel in my heart the confidence of our business succeeding, of our stores becoming a success. Even though in short 6 months we actually became profitable, I still didn't trust it enough. I didn't trust it to be something that could generate enough money for us to live off of. And honestly, we will never know if that was true or not, because we decided to part ways. We just couldn't reach an agreement on how to continue with the business. And as I said, I figured out that I want to do something else, not this. So we parted ways. No losses and no gains. We didn't make any money and we didn't really lose any money because we managed to return our investment at least. So it wasn't a complete failure. She stayed with the same business idea and moved on to do it her own way, which was very different than how we tried to do it in the beginning. And I moved on to create a completely different business, a SaaS business really, and I couldn't be happier about that. But this is not what this story is about. This story is about why we failed and what you can learn from that for your business, whatever it is in e-commerce or any other niche. So what are my personal key takeaways? First of all, make sure you start a business in something that you see yourself doing for the long term. It has to be a niche you enjoy. It has to be a topic you enjoy and a type of work that you see yourself doing long term. If you see that as something that is okay for now but you hate it, you will hate it in the future as well. The goal of starting a business is not to suffer. It's not to hate what you do. Quite the opposite. So make sure you find something you can find a passion for and not just the passion for being independent, because that's not enough. For most businesses, you will need to take some financial risk. Whatever it is, a loan or an investment, whatever it is, the fact that you might not have a salary for a few months, maybe even a few years until things start picking up, it is a financial risk. It always is. And it's not for everyone, and that's totally fine. But you really need to think about that. You really need to be aware that you might need to take your financial status to the edge before your business starts making money. And even then, it might not start making money. You might spiral into debt. And that's a risk that any business owner takes when he starts a business. So just make sure you believe in your idea enough, you love it enough, and you believe in yourself enough to know that it's worth it. And if you don't, then it either means this is not for you, or it means maybe you should find another idea that you believe in more. And then lastly is to really know your audience. You need to know where they are, you need to know their language, what they like, what they dislike. I didn't know that about my audience back then. And while my cousin knew that, she knew that for a specific sector of the audience. There were still some larger parts that we were both unfamiliar with, and that became an issue very quickly. So make sure that you know your audience, also in their size. Is this audience big enough for you to solve a problem for and make money out of? And if it is, what do you need to do to reach this size, to maximize your exposure for this audience? Create this plan before you get started and not after, as you go along, like we did. So this was my personal story, but if you want to learn more about how to pick the right idea and minimize your risk, we actually have a video just about that, and we're going to link it in the cards up here. This is it for my failure story. I'm actually quite proud of this story because I think failure is the only way we learn, and I learned a lot during these 6 months operating this store. Actually, I learned enough to open my second business that ended up succeeding, so I couldn't be happier with this specific failure. Of course, we're not gonna feel that way about any failure in life. Sometimes it feels devastating, and that is totally fine too. It's just something we have to learn how to deal with and learn from. So I actually took what I did and used this experience to build something in the same niche. We actually have 5 different apps with around 30,000 stores using all of them together. And the business is doing well, and I love what I do. This business has been around for about 2.5 years. It is now the end of 2020, and I'm hoping that it's gonna be around for much longer. That is the assumption that we operate on. And just to give you a bit of a comparison, when I needed to take not 1, not 2, but 3 different loans to actually build our very first product when we were completely broke, I did it, and I didn't even think about it twice. Well, I did think about it twice, but I did it because I believed in the product enough, and I believed in our ability to make it succeed enough to take this risk. This is the feeling you need when you start your own thing. So I hope this video inspired any of you to start or not start a business you were thinking about. Let me know in the comments about your personal failure story, what you learned from it, and how you used that to help you grow. This is it for this video. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you liked it. I would love to hear your opinion about what I did wrong and what I could do better, because I know I could do a lot better. See you in the next video. Bye.